Welcome everybody to the Scott County Lady Cardinals News Graphic Coaches Show. This is the post-Christmas edition. Now, as you're watching this, the Lady Cardinals are in Duncanville, Texas, playing in a tournament with some of the best teams in the country. And after they get back, we're going to talk about all the things all the experiences they had down there. I'm sure it's going to be exciting on and off the court. But to kind of fill that void this week, we're here to talk about just the season that we've had so far in the state of Kentucky. And the Lady Cards off to a 6-1 start that has been exciting to watch from a fan's perspective. How's it been from a coach's perspective?
Really pleased, really happy. To be totally honest with you, we're ahead offensively where I thought we might be. You know, we're averaging at this point almost 80 points a game, getting them down the court pretty well. But to this point, very pleased. Our effort's been well. We've played hard, and you know that's one of our keys on our board. We say, you know, we got to play harder, we got to play smarter, and we got to play together. And right now, we're playing hard. We're practicing hard, playing hard, and good things will happen. Now, execution-wise, we're 7 games into it.
Sometimes that effort, as the good book says, covers a multitude of sins. You know, to paraphrase. It's just, sometimes even if the shots aren't falling, even if you're not, maybe your attention to detail isn't quite where it's supposed to be on certain things, you can hustle your way into some points and do some good things regardless. And that's what I've seen. Is that what you've seen from this group?
We talk about one thing you can't do enough of is rebound the ball. And you know, sometimes we'll tell kids, you know, you can't shoot too much. Sometimes you can't pass too much. But rebounding the ball is one of those hustle points, and that's where you just play harder. Don't always show up if you get a hand on a deflection or make something happen, but just making a play on the ball. We get a lot of shots up, so there's plenty of opportunities for offensive rebounds. So again, we're very pleased with our effort. You know, there's been some issues so far where I've seen we've had some different lineups that not everyone is on the same page offensively or defensively, and that's something I think because we have experience and we have no experience.
Yeah.
And trying to mesh that together, it's going to take time.
You have a huge roster too. You know, I've seen varsity teams that carry 8, 9, 10 kids. You have, I think you're juggling 16, 18 some nights. I mean, that's a lot to have to manage, but you seem to do it. You seem to get everybody in there, and they seem to be developing their roles as the season goes on.
You know, and that's a credit to those kids because from a coaching standpoint, we're still trying to figure out. You know, we've joked and we've kidded because I refer a lot to football. I love football. It's almost like we have to have a package for different lineups. You know, certain lineups will go a little bit bigger. We need to have an offensive package for that lineup. You know, for some lineups, we're a little bit, you know, we'll go a 5-hour lineup. We need to have a different package for that. So it's almost a situation where, you know, I need to have the headsets on and somebody calling from up in the booth saying, you know, hey, here we go with jumbo package or whatever we need to do to get something going. But again, depending on our opponent, depending on, you know, some of the things they do, some of their strengths, we do have to look at some different lineups. We have the capabilities of going to a big, strong lineup. We have the capabilities of going to a quick lineup. So from a coaching standpoint, you just kind of go with your gut on that night.
This team's not afraid to shoot. It's pretty apparent. I think of Morgan DeFore, Malia Owens. I think of Peyton Riddle, who we've talked about. You'd like to get her to shoot even more, but most of these girls don't mind pulling the trigger, and if they miss 7, 8, 9 in a row, they're willing to take that 10th shot and have the confidence that it's going to go in. You got to like that as a coach.
You got to forget that last shot. You have to forget it. You know, I joke and I'll cut up with them sometimes in practice, especially when they'll pass up a wide open shot or 2 wide open shots. Listen, we need to go back to old Dean Smith School where it was 10 passes before you had your first shot. And just, you know, I'm joking because I would never do that. But you know, it's a situation where we want these kids to be free. We don't want them to be robotic. Now, granted, there's some times when I wish they would take that shot in the flow of the game, and we talk about flow, but I'm not going to put a stop sign up on any of these kids because I want them to have that freedom. You know, I do not have the philosophy of if you have an open shot and you pass it, you'll get that same open shot back. A lot of times you want against a good defense. If Peyton Riddle's open on that first time, Peyton Riddle needs to take that shot because eventually they're going to figure out who Peyton Riddle is. So I'm, you know, and that's for any of those kids. Now, you know, Morgan has the ball in her hands a lot. You know, our wings, Malia and Peyton have the ball because, you know, they're supposed to be sprinting those lanes. But, you know, our green lights for our 5s, our 4s, who face up whatever shot that they think they can take and make for our team to be successful. They've got my support.
I know you lost a pretty good player who had experience at the point before the season came in. Has that changed Morgan's role a little bit? Has she had to do more things in that regard?
Absolutely. Juliet coming into the season when she was counting on being as our number 1 point. She had 2 years experience under her belt. She had an incredible summer preparing for this season, and something that none of us can help, none of us can do anything about it. We would. I've told Juliet, I've told Michaela, I've told Brittany, if I could took that injury, I would took that injury for you, so you wouldn't have to go through that. But it's one of those things where you couldn't help. Kind of put Morgan a little ahead of where I wanted her. I was looking at maybe running her at a 2 and a 3, and it is what it is. Morgan's doing a great job for us, getting better every game, and we're very blessed to have an opportunity to at least have 2 to 3 point guards.
Right, absolutely. In the 42nd district, anytime you can be 2-0 before the new year, that's a good place to be. That's a pretty good building block for going forward into January, February.
Everything's on the seed right now. You seed everything, so we're still preparing. When we come back from break, we'll have Bryan Station. That'll be our first game back, and that's a dangerous game because you're coming back from a long trip. You're getting the kids, back in school. So very dangerous game as we go to Bryan Station. Bryan Station, Sayre, and Henry Clay, I think, have the capabilities to improve all year long. They're very athletic, and the flip side of that is I think we have the capabilities to get better as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like this team's ceiling is still up here, and there's a long way to go. What do we have besides, you talked a little bit about the schedule in January, Toyota Classic coming up in January. What's the girls' role in that? What's the schedule look like that week?
We're very honored to be a part of the Toyota Classic. That's something, several years ago we kind of sat down. We used to play a one-game showcase event, and, a few years ago we sat down and very blessed for the opportunity to be a part of this tournament, which will be one of the top tournaments in the state this year. Possibly, 3 to 4 teams, and you throw us in there as well, could be top 15. So it could be 4 out of 4, could be top 15 in the state by that time. And to play 3 games against that competition in 4 days, it's going to be tough.
To be where you are at this point, if somebody had told you before the season you can be 6-1 when you go into Texas, would you have taken that? I mean, everybody wants to be 7-0, but pretty good start considering the way that you guys have played, I think.
I'm extremely excited, for us to be 6-1 at this point, and for us to be where we are. We've had running clocks, for 4 out of 7 of our game. We went running clock, and that's something that we've not done in a while. We've shown. We call it spurtability, where we've had 4-point games turn into 20-point runs, and break teams back. That's something we've not done in a while.
You like that running clock rule? Coach Hicks hates it. But do you?
I do not, because it throws our rotations off. We need to get. This is time we can work on those kids, getting that experience in a varsity game. When you go to that running clock, unless you're on the other side of it now we've been on the other side, and you get on the other side, you're just looking at that clock saying, let's run, baby, run. But, in the situation, especially when you're up and when you are in that, fortunate enough to have that kind of lead, I want to get our kids some experience, game-like experience. It seems like when you go 35, you start looking and trying to put a piece together, and kids will just come in and they'll be like, I just got in for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, but you're trying to get look at a lot of people in a short amount of time.
What are the big non-district games to look forward to other than the Toyota Classic? Any games in the region in January that we should be looking ahead to?
When we come back, we've got Bryan Station, and then our schedule in the middle of January. I believe at one point we've got like a 7 or 8 game stretch where we play 8 games within 12 days, 13, 14 days. It's a we'll go from game plan to game plan really quick. Great regional games, showcase events in Louisville, Franklin County. So January, we're going to find out what we're made of.
December, it's just starting out. We have a lot to look forward to in Lady Card season. Hope you can join us for future episodes. Till next time, see you on the sideline.